It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it's great to have you in the studio today. Today, we're talking about the Cornucopia Community Advocates Nonprofit Food Recovery Program. Leslie Fox is in studio. She's with the Yavapai County Food Recovery. She's the coordinator. You're also a school teacher, right?
That's right. I do food recovery in Yavapai County, and I have the luxury of working from home for an online high school. It's called Arizona Virtual Academy.
Pretty nice.
It is. It actually is nice because food recovery happens in a heartbeat sometimes, where they call and there's food right now. And if I was in a brick and mortar school and I didn't have a school that supported food recovery, because my principal actually knows that I'm here right now, so I can move my schedule around and go to, say, the Old Town Mission and help them when they have produce that they don't want to throw away, but they can't distribute it any longer.
Gotcha. Okay. So let's give them a website. Cornucopiaca.org is the website. Cornucopiaca.org. And I'll make mention of that several times as we go into breaks. All right. So this is the Cornucopia. What exactly what is the program called? Did I say it right?
You did. It's Cornucopia Community Advocates Food Recovery Program.
Food Recovery Program.
It's a pilot program in Yavapai County.
Okay. So let's hear all about it.
Okay. Our CEO of Cornucopia, Harvey Grady, along with Eric Marcus, looked at our community and saw a need, one, to eliminate food waste, but mostly to eliminate hunger. We look at nationally, 1 out of every 5 kids is experiencing hunger, and in our county, it's 1 out of every 3.
Oh, wow, okay.
So when, I'm also a mother, when I think about the fact that 1 out of every 3 kids doesn't know where their next meal comes from, and as an educator, knowing that if you're hungry, you can't think.
Sure.
You can't think. You can't experience the passions and joys of life. And knowing that, I know a lot about the food system, where our food comes from and where it goes. So I didn't have all of that information of where people are experiencing hunger. I think it's 1 out of every 5 adults.
Okay.
And so it's not just our children, but it's our whole community that is impacted. And in Arizona, Apache County is actually one of the worst for food insecurity. So then I look at our food system, and I know that where our food comes from and where it goes, that we have more than enough food. We throw away half of the food that we produce.
That's a crazy number.
It is a crazy number.
It is a huge number,
It's crazy, and some people say 40%, but I've seen 50%, and I think that the problem is the solution. That you look at, that there is more than enough food out there, but what we need to look at is the distribution and the logistics of it, and also our cultural identification of more is better, and our cultural identification. If we go into a grocery store and we see 100 loaves of bread, and the store knows they're going to throw away 50 of them, we would buy a loaf of bread. But if we walked into the store and we saw 50, it's like, oh, maybe, or 10, you know, because we have this sense in us that that's not good enough. And so we have our, best if used by dates on our food, because the only food that actually expires is baby food. So it's just a best if used by date. Your milk goes by that date and you're like, oh, it's bad, throw it away. It's not.
I do. I am horrible about that, but I will tell you right now, an expiration date on something, if it's a day later, not this guy. I'm not putting it in my mouth.
So let's change your thought on that.
Okay.
It's not an expiration date. It's a best if used by date.
So when is it like a gross by used by date, where it's just
when it smells bad?
Okay, when it's smelling bad.
And there's mold on it.
Okay.
Okay, so Jen Cohen's in France, and did you know that in France it is typical to not eat a steak until it's moldy?
Oh.
Yeah. And then we look at food safety, because we are concerned about food safety.
Right.
And there are, we look at our Yavapai County Health Department and the fantastic work that they do regulating food safety in our restaurants. But we look at our grocery stores, and uncut produce and uncut vegetables don't have anybody regulating that food safety. So you can have produce and you think it's going bad because it starts to wilt, but you can pull that wilt back, or you can process it faster, get it to somebody quicker. There's a lot of different ways. that you can distribute that food. The meats, the raw meats, those are also not regulated.
Okay.
So food safety, there are guidelines in Yavapai County for food recovery, and what we've actually done is work closely with our health department to create our policies on food safety. So we are time and temperature controlling, and we're looking at food, and we're informing and educating those people that are receiving the food. But honestly, most of the food is not past the best if used by date.
Okay.
It's just that they can't distribute it fast enough. So
so that's our problem.
that's part of the problem.
Part of the problem. But distribution is definitely one of them, where you've got people, because you just mentioned at the beginning of the show that you're able to leave and go out and grab those resources, those food resources, and then get them to where they need to be. But we need 1,000, if not more, Leslies to be able to do that effectively.
Yes, so we need volunteers, we need help, we also need to work with businesses like Fry's grocery store and Kroger is going zero waste, and they are looking critically at their business model. So the Sustainability Alliance is a nonprofit. It's actually underneath the umbrella of Cornucopia. Okay. Cornucopia is an umbrella nonprofit, so it houses multiple projects. I'm going to name our affiliates real quick.
Yeah, that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 501c3.
It is.
Yep.
And what it does is the mission of Cornucopia is to improve communities by promoting development and sharing of community resources in partnership with other organizations, with emphasis on creating self-sufficiency, collaboration, and opportunities for altruistic community service. And so under that, we have the Sustainability Alliance, and they work hard on business certifications to have them look at how can you go to zero waste? How can you look at your events and move them towards zero waste? And it's a great partnership, and there's many members of that alliance. But under Cornucopia, our other affiliates, we just added a lady from Prescott, Karen, came to us. She has a documentary she's going to make, What the Food, and looking at how food affects the healing of recovery of addiction. Okay. So we also work with the Art History Project, Crossing Worlds Hopi Project, Friends of Old Town Center for the Arts, HEAL, which is Health and Environmental Action Leaders, Heart Path, Heart to Heart, Inspiration of Sedona. We also have PARI, which is the Prescott Area Restorative Initiative, Saraswati Victory, Stupa Path, Sedona Kind, the Sustainability Alliance, TEDx Sedona, and Verde Valley Ancestral Gardens. I think I got them all.
That's a lot of the partners that are involved in this, but of course you'll take more. And so how would people go about getting in touch with you to go ahead and say, hey, I'm interested in this, Leslie, I want to help out?
Our food recovery program is listed online for our at cornucopiaca.org.
Okay.
My personal work phone number is 928-592-3837. 3837.
So let's say that again. 928-592-3837. We've got to take our first break already.
Sure.
Okay. When we come back, I want to ask you about the grocery stores and how when food is out of date or supposedly out of date, what it goes to and how it gets taken out of there. Okay. So Cornucopia Community Advocates Food Recovery Program. This is Leslie Fox in studio today. Website again is cornucopiaca.org. Number is 592-3837. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
How I define making? In the broadest possible terms, it is making something extant in the world that didn't exist. Everybody who's ever made anything is bringing something into fruition for a reason, and that act in and of itself makes us stewards of our culture. It's something that we're talking about. It's a response. Actually, it's telling a story. That's really what it is. And I include everything that could be made: painting, sculpture, welding, all of that.
Yellow is positive.
When a kid gets their hands on the world and learns that they can make their fantasy play, that they can make their reality, that's power. And as far as I'm concerned, everyone should feel that kind of power. There we go. If there's something that interests you to bring into the world, that's fantastic. Go figure out how to do it. Go tell your own story. There it is. And so I want to know why you make. Let's go.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure looks like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a stroke are far from invisible or silent. If you've come off your treatment plan, get back on it, or talk with your doctor to create an exercise, diet, and medication plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
If I would have followed a treatment plan, I would not be in this situation.
Welcome back to Countywide. We're talking about the Cornucopia Community Advocates Food Recovery Program. Leslie Fox is in studio. She is the Yavapai County Food Recovery Coordinator. Her number is 592-3837. The website is cornucopiaca.org. You were talking about grocery stores and how they want to be zero waste grocery stores. Now, when they've got all these products on the shelf, obviously there's expiration dates, as we talked about already too. When, say, this product becomes expired, what happens to that?
So again, it's not expired. It's best if used by date.
Best if used by date. Okay, see, I say expiration, but it's not. It's best if used by.
Right.
Okay.
And a lot of that is packaging. The packaging deteriorates a little bit, and the logos kind of wear, and the companies don't want to see their logos and their packaging, and it's not necessarily the food inside that's bad.
Part of the best if used by date?
That's part of it.
Criteria?
That's part of it.
My bag doesn't look as good as it used to, huh?
It's not fresh and crisp and clean.
Okay, all right, go on.
Specifically, I know of the one grocery store that's working on moving to zero waste, because I was at the Arizona Food Summit recently in Tucson, and we heard a presentation. So we're excited, and we're hoping that others will follow. And what we look at, and what Harvey and Eric sat down is, my job is to eliminate food waste, find it, catch it, feed the folks that are experiencing hunger, or I'm feeding the people who have animals that will eat that food. Did you know that lions eat melons?
Yeah.
They do. They like pop them open and eat them.
A lion will eat a melon.
A lion will eat a melon.
I'll be darned.
So we also are actively looking for people that can compost. And so in the 18 months of the program's history, we have caught just over 300,000 pounds of food.
Oh, wow.
And I think we've created, 189,431 meals to feed folks in our community. And this was as of January 14th, and I think I did 5,000 pounds Saturday and another 5,000 on, so it's another 10,000 pounds.
So when somebody communicates with you and says, hey Leslie, I got all this food, I don't want to throw it away, you go out there and you actually get it.
I get it. And I have volunteers, and what we do is we make food link agreements. So we look at where the food waste is, and our community calls us. So at this time in Prescott area, Quad Cities, and we have this side of the mountain. So our community partners on this side of the mountain, I have a little map here to help me remember. But the folks that are giving me food that I would like to thank graciously is the Sedona Golf Resort in the village.
Okay.
We have La Berge in Sedona.
Okay.
And so the food safety and what we look at from restaurants is the food that people have not touched. We don't want it off the plates. We don't want it if it's off a buffet line because of time and temperature
It's part
control.
of what they're serving for the day. It's in the back.
It's in the back.
Okay.
It's a wedding, and they didn't eat it all. Or it's a buffet or a
So they call you, you get it. Now, where does it go right after that? Because that kind of food right there has to be
we got to move it.
right
So
away.
we ask those types of donors, and we also have Manzanito restaurant in Cornville. So they freeze it or they package it and they get it to us as fast, and we get it right to the people. So we also have, we work with a lot of our food banks and our food pantries.
That's what I was going to get to. You say you get it to the people. So who are you?
We give it to them, but we also take away from them because they get more than they can use.
Okay.
And that's again a part of logistics and distribution of where the food is coming from and getting there.
Makes sense.
But we look at where are folks experiencing hunger. So I work with Steps to Recovery here, which is an awesome program in the Verde Valley. Valley, Angie's House, Verde Valley Sanctuary. I also take food to the Sedona Area Homeless Alliance, to the Verde Valley Homeless Alliance. And then I'm thinking there's just not enough. And the thing is that we're looking at how people already know where to go to those places. So where are people at? Where do they have to go? And where do they hang out? So the Cottonwood Public Library now is distributing free food. I have a business in Rimrock, right on the highway, Emerald Waves Healing Garden, and we put a free food pantry that was donated by the community, a free food fridge and refrigerator, and we stock it regularly. We take it to our schools, Desert Star Community School and also Beaver Creek School in Rimrock is now taking our food. We have a thrift store that is just getting on board. They're going to have a free food pantry and refrigerator. So businesses and places like libraries, we're also working with Vets for Hire and places like that. In the Prescott area, we have Grandma's Bakery, which is a delicious bakery. They give us their day-old pastries. And we work with Little Caesars and Starbucks and Wildflower and Einstein's and multiple other places to get that food. And we are taking them to the retirement communities, the folks that are living on $800 a month, and they can't physically even leave the building to go to the grocery store.
Right.
And $800 is not enough.
Right, not
so
even close.
We're bringing that food. We also work with Whipstone Farm and other of our local farmers, gleaning and getting that actual most delicious, most fresh food from our local farms.
I can see you're talking. You get more excited as we get it, because you've got more and more partners that have come in over this
well,
year and a half, you said?
It sounds bleak, right? It sounds bleak, like so many people hungry and so much food thrown away, but there is a solution. We can do it. Our community can step up.
Well, this has got to be making
help.
a dent in it, right?
Oh, it is.
Yeah, you said, what, 300,000 some odd
Just
pounds
over
of food
that,
just in the short period of time that you've been doing this now.
And,
so
I mentioned the meals. We've given 34,660 pounds for farm animals. So those of you with goats and chickens and pigs, call me, please call me. I can feed your animals. 30,141 pounds into compost piles. And our compost piles, so we don't actively compost as an organization, but we find people to do that.
Sure.
And I found myself, so I build enormous compost piles. And what I do is I get yard waste and leaves and branches and cardboard and carbon, and I mail it. You remember Big Bird?
Oh yeah.
A Big Bird nest?
Oh yeah.
That, like this big around is this table, right? And then in the middle goes 600 pounds of rotten, nasty food that people and the animals, so I put it in there and then I cover it with more biomass. So I'm looking at a scientific process and I cook that and I make it right, and I'm not creating methane gas. So we look at climate change. And climate change is real and it's happening, and the third best thing you can do to eliminate the effects of climate change. So if it continues to go, our environment is going to change and it's not going to be hospitable for humans in about 40 years. So we need to act today, and if we can compost, eliminate food waste, that's the third best thing you can do for the environment according to drawdownsolutions.org. So this program is huge. It's feeding people, it's taking care of the environment, and it's building community connections. We get out there and we, look at the different agencies and we look at people doing similar work. And I'll mention right now, because in our community there's another food waste. Look at how much food is growing. We have pomegranates and pecans and food just growing, apples and peaches, and it drops to the ground because people don't have the tools. So in a collaborative effort with Yavapai Community Health Services and Nancy Gottschalk, we put together a program called SHEP, Shared Harvest Equipment Program. And we have
we gotta take a break.
All of this information for you online on our website.
Well, let's take our break. We'll come back and we'll finish up the show with Shep, because I know you wanted to hit that for sure, so we'll give the last segment for that, okay?
Thanks.
Website is cornucopiaca.org. Get a hold of Leslie. It's 592-3837. It's the Cornucopia Community Advocates Food Recovery Program, countywide, back in just a couple minutes.
And we
It appears these hot ashes are about to be dumped, which could possibly start a wildfire. How will Smokey deal with such a hot situation? The garden hose defense. Next, a thorough stir. Then another spray. And finally, feeling if the ashes are cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, yes, the selfie. A ritual practiced so frequently with this tribe, but not so much by Smokey Bear.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a few minutes left in the program. Again, cornucopiaca.org is the website. Phone number for Leslie Fox is 592-3837, and the program is Cornucopia Community Advocates Food Recovery Program. So if you go to the website, you can find out all kinds of information about this. The SHEP program, Shared Harvest Equipment Program, that's new.
It is new. We got a grant. Harvey wrote a grant, and we got pickers and pluckers and baskets and tools. We have loppers and pruners. So anyone in the community can fill out an application and request to use our tools and harvest their food. They can keep all the food or they can donate some back, but they need to clean the tools and return them back to our program. So anyone who has trees, give us a call and let us know.
And you got all the equipment for the different kinds of fruits.
Yeah. All kinds of equipment. Also, you know, I am the Yavapai County Coordinator, but I focus on the Verde Valley and in the Quad City area. We just hired a wonderful team that has an amazing company called Windswept Acres, and they pickle locally grown produce. So we're looking at how we might be able to expand with food recovery with that. But I want to introduce Pam Baker and Dave Harris. So Pam is our food recovery coordinator for the Quad City, and Dave is our food recovery agent.
We'll can everything. We'll can everything in the world will last forever in a can, right?
It can. Yeah. It can. So their direct number is 928-592-7929. So if you're in that Quad City, which is still challenging for me to think of because I graduated high school in Chino Valley. Chino Valley, Prescott Valley, Dewey, Humboldt, Mayor. But we all work together. We're a good team.
Yeah, Quad City, the whole county's become a very good team, I think, for sure. We've still got a couple minutes left. Is there anything else we definitely want to do? Is farms. Let's hit farms really fast. Now, if I've got a farm and I've grown way too much, again, I can call you guys.
You can. And the thing is that, again, we want to go back to food safety because that's a critical point. And counties regulate food safety. So county to county, it's going to be different. In Yavapai County specifically, our farmers, our backyard growers, if they want to donate or sell their produce, they need to take some kind of food safety. Most of the state requires you to go through the Arizona Department of Agriculture, and I'm fortunate enough to serve with their Food and Ag Policy Council. So I know Stuart Jacobson, and he does the trainings, and we're actually going to be bringing him out to Chino Valley soon so he can do this training. But in our county, you don't have to pay for the audit. So if you call me as an individual, you don't have to, well, I'll just back it up. If you call me and you want to donate food, I'm going to come and inspect your garden. I'm going to look and make sure you're not growing in your leach field, that your dog isn't running through your garden and doing his business.
A controlled environment.
Yeah, that we want to make sure that the food is grown safe. We definitely want to do good and not cause harm.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. All right, well, that's it. That's all we got time for. Leslie, thank you so much for coming in. It's a lot to try to squeeze in.
You should have me back.
In 20 minutes, and we will have you back.
Maybe a series of
Yeah.
conversations.
Is the PowerPoint that I saw that you sent me, is that on the website as well? Can people go through that, or is it not available that way?
I can put it, we also have a Facebook page that folks can like as well, Cornucopia Community Advocates. I can post it on there. I think I could probably get it on our website.
Okay, it's a nice punch list of the information that we scraped on today. So if you're interested.
Any of the organizations would like a presentation on food recovery, because I am a certified teacher, I can also go into the schools or into your business or your club or your organization organization and really identify what you can do to make a difference, because it takes a village, and we really need our community to come together and step up and volunteer and help, because I'm catching a lot, but there's still so much I'm not.
Sure. All right. We're done.
Okay.
That's it. 592-3837, cornucopiaca.org. Thanks for watching and listening. That's today's Countywide, and we'll talk to you again next time.